As the two players real close to each other. Looks like they have Princess Yoda as a scout, so Doubt would be happy. Capture Age catches up. Alright. I feel like I always miss the first couple minutes of the game as I'm just trying to refresh to get into them. Anyway, we'll have ACCM in the south of the map playing as the Red Teutons, with the less to the north playing as the Blue Vikings. Wouldn't the best counter to a Huang Rush be FC to drop a castle? I mean, I suppose that could help, but it also will ruin your eco. So 1,300 gold on those gold mines. So if ACCM can secure that, he'll be in a good spot. Other than that, fairly low food start, I think. I don't see... There's bears without any food on them. More deer down there with more food, but they're guarded by the bears. Not much food on that goose there. There are some berries down there. So players actually could struggle in the Dark Age to get the food they need. We'll see how quickly they go to berries and whether they're able to keep food under their TC, as we see them luring in their second pour already. But we will probably have to see some Dark Age farms, which in this matchup, the Teutons with their cheaper farms, that could actually be very nice for them. Huang Rusher's eco won't be any better, you're right. But I feel like that really depends on the civ. Like, can you do something useful with the castle? Are you going to be making plumed archers with the castle? Or Mangudai with the castle? Then yeah. Are you going to be making... I don't know. Like... sergeants with the castle? Karambit warriors with the castle? Karambits might actually be fairly good in that matchup for sniping siege. Or like samurai with the castle, then probably not. I feel like what we saw, where like the Teuton is able to get to the monks, is kind of the spot you want to be in when you're countering the Huang Rush. It's just you need to find some way to get to that spot and not trap yourself in feudal. When is the final? I don't know. I think that they are going to play these games and then schedule the final. Oh, we'll see Princess Yoda pushing in the deer. We saw a queen pushing a deer earlier. Now we see a princess pushing a deer. We'll get that deer right towards the TC. There you go. ACCM going for the walls, the tournament walls. As he gets in his farms. Only one farm so far for Veles. Veles even adding in a barracks. They are very close, and ACCM will have this wall up towards his TC. Actually can get a fairly decently walled chunk of the map. If Yoda dies, does the player lose like in the Yoda campaign? No, you still live even if your hero dies. Well, I guess it's not a hero so much as a... Well, it is a hero in this case, yeah. Yeah, you do not get defeated by losing kings. There are no regicides in this map. So ACCM will be the first up to the feudal. Those Dark Age farms probably helping him out as this Yoda is having difficulty getting that deer to path around that forest. Looks like feudal age coming in for Bless as well. Nothing coming out of that barrack, so it might just be straight for archers for him. And no barracks yet for ACCM. I wonder what we'll see from him. Could be scouts with the Teutons, but he would need that barracks added in fairly soon, so he'd get the stable on time. You not love this game when you see your princess pushing deers. Yeah. So the advantage of the Vikings in this matchup was their free wheelbarrow and handcart. For the Teutons, if this goes late game, I really do have to favor the Teutons. Vikings struggle against pretty much any civ that can make a bombard cannon and good siege, and that is one thing at which the Teutons will excel. It's nice to see the princess. She's not a queen yet, she's only a princess. Wolves attacking kings and queens. That would be... If you lost a regicide game due to a wolf attacking your king, that would be horrible. So what is ACCM going to do? He is fully walled. He's doing double bit axe. He has some scouting of his opponent. Is he going to put down a stable, or will he just wait to see what the Viking player does and then react to it? So now we have the free wheelbarrow for the Viking, and there's the archery range. ACCM should scout that. Yep, he does. He'll react just by walling up. And what is he going to do? Immediately doing his eco upgrade, so double bit axe and horse collar. He'll have some of those Teuton horse collar farms. The queen is in his base. She sees what's going on. And what's going on is not actually much, as ACCM is just committing to the walls. And there we are, archery range himself. See how he decides to play this against the Vikings. Yoda needs to be careful not to die to archers there. Actually, very nice wall for Veles. He's scouted Yoda, just wall from that cliff to the forest, and then this will keep him incredibly safe. ACCM had to do a bit more walling. If you look at the relics, both players having a relic inside their walls, so probably no chance at a relic victory. Veles can wall less. Imagine new Vikings with the infantry focus in late game going up against Teutonic Knights, better armored champions, and halbs. Yeah, I don't think the Vikings have much of an answer to the Teutons late game. The question is, how is Veles going to push before then? And can ACCM defend? Cliffs, it feels like an actual Arabia map. When we do community games, they'll have to use like the original Arabia sometime, and not the new DE attempts at changing Arabia. Let's see, we do have a bit of a fight in the middle as Princess Yoda is keeping track of the incoming opposing army, and ACCM will just be defending with some skirmishers. No fletching yet for either player. How much you miss cliffs until you see them again? Yeah, I don't mind like toning down the number of cliffs in Arabia, but they should still be some cliffs there. The ponds, though, I could definitely see. I definitely like when the ponds are removed. I'm not a fan of the ponds, but cliffs should probably still be there. The Vikings were bad at late game even before the changes. Yeah, now they miss thumb ring too. I feel like that's just... they didn't need to lose their thumb ring. Age of Kings Arabia? Nah, AOC or Dry Arabia. That's where it's at. I think AOK Arabia actually was slightly different than AOC Arabia, but I don't actually know what the differences were. Missed experimenting with the Malay fish traps on Arabia. Yeah, the pawns I think just make the game actually worse to play though when they're in the middle of woodlines that you want to take. And Veles will be rushing up that stable. Skirms won't be able to stop it, but they can delay it a bit. Alright, both players' economies just about equal to each other. ACCM, see who gets to click up first. Those are the two buildings. Now we have range and blacksmith for ACCM. ACCM is just walling. He wants to take this to the late game. He's walling, building a stable. If they have fully upgraded arbs with thumb ring, maybe they could consider adding halves for them instead. I feel like they should have just kept thumb ring for them. That way they're at least more useful in team games. Now it basically just takes them and makes them worse on the flank, while making them, like, their men-at-arms rush is probably better, but they already had a decent feudal age with their free wheelbarrow. The greatest difference was players not finding their sheep. Yeah, they've changed that now. The sheep are just, on the whole, easier to find now. Blame Shyrim? Well, I think that there were lots of problems with Arabia ever since they came out with DE.
Yeah.
And now, military advantage for Veles. We're getting to that situation from the first game where ACCM is going for the double stables, but in waiting for the knights to pop. Veles is continuing to add in archers that will turn into crossbows. We already have 1 armor for ACCM, but to fight crossbows with their upgrades, ACCM will need a good number of knights with his upgrades. So will we see an immediate +2? We see a second range being added for Veles, so he looks like he wants to apply some type of pressure. Tribe map maker? No, Tribe doesn't make maps. He does other balance stuff. His TC there could be good. He's TCing his gold. Maybe he wants to be more compact. Just keep a TC on that gold, though. Oh, thank you, Yuckmed, for the follow. And there go the knights. Only 1 armor, so the archers actually can do okay versus them still. They're about to become crossbows, and now they're crossbows, and that's actually going to be very good to fight for Veles. ACCM is going to lose those knights before they get armored. I feel like you kind of want to get through about 5 or 6 armored knights before taking a fight against the crossbows there. But losing a knight and a lot of HP already. And thank you, Backgat1 for the follow. You watch on YouTube? Well, thank you for stopping by the stream. Nice to have you here. The ACCM still going to be scouting, but more crossbows being added for Veles. Second TC for Veles as well. ACCM going straight up to those 3 TCs. And has 1 bit of palisade that doesn't have walls behind it. Does have a TC, and you could just house it there and kind of trap it in. Knights are going to come in from behind. Now they have +2 armor. Now he has a good number of knights. The pikemen are coming forward. This is a good 5 knights against 8 crossbows. The knights should win this fight. That pike is there. The problem for Veles is his army is spread out, and the knights will get some hits as the crossbows try to regroup, and ACCM can now run back, and the crossbow pressure is mostly alleviated now as ACCM will have that extra TC. A couple of scouts have run in. They'll pick a Veil but go down. Probably does need to rewall that with a house. They'll scale mail armor, so more armor for the pikemen now. With pikemen versus knights, you normally go for the armor. They have such a big attack bonus that the +1 attack doesn't really matter, but the +1 armor to keep them alive helps. ACCM should take this game. Well, I'd certainly like to see him continue the series.
Yeah.
Still has a chance if he can go for a faster imp. Oh, this pressure needs to be defended by ACCM. We see a forward Vil. We do have that deadly crossbow pike army that will outnumber ACCM quite a bit. It's 25-7. ACCM trying to get in and get some raids, but Veles needing to add in the 3rd TC. 3rd TC does kind of worry me. I feel like the faster Imperial Age needs to be his strategy. But ACCM, see if he can get to that stone, which he is. Not much stone, actually, and that could be a problem for the Teutons, as they do like to get their castles up. Maybe, like, 2 castles worth of stone in all those mines there. But a defensive mangonel for ACCM, can he get a good shot? Ooh, the split from Veles just in time. A few pikemen being added in. Monastery now for ACCM. We can see essentially the reverse of the last game, where the Teutons can use Redemption Monks to stop mangonel pressure while they continue booming. So 5-fill lead for ACCM. That's going to start evening up that wheelbarrow and handcart advantage. And the mangonels, pikemen not good at fighting once the siege gets involved. And the Teutons will have the better siege. The ACCM does need to hold, and he's doing a good job of it. This hill at the front of his base that Veles has managed to capture will be annoying. Should we make a few scorpions to punish the pikes? Mangonels can punish the pikes well enough. And when you're going to get into a mangonel war, the scorpions quickly don't become as useful. It's a nice mangonel shot there. Knights coming in from the side. Gets another hit there, even doing some more damage to the pikes. Now with 2 mangonels out, getting some more shots on the pikemen in the back. ACCM just needs to be careful. Sometimes it can be unnerving having more mangonels because you have more to lose.
Yeah.
I feel like just going straight for the mangonels and not the scorpions is probably the right play here. Now that like both players have their mangonels engaged. It still is a scary, scary mass of crossbows. ACCM. Oh, could he get a mangonel shot there? Nice shot there on the crossbows. Problem is, Veles is pressuring houses, but what does that house do? He's not going to run in. He doesn't have a mobile army. It's not like he has a charge of cavalry ready to come in. The house goes down. ACCM gets a shot, gets some HP there. There is a monk, and that's, I guess, the worrying thing. Vikings don't have great monks, but they do at least have monks. This is, again, where the lack of sanctity and redemption is going to hurt the Vikings. Because mangonels can still shoot the monks. They trade off mangonels there. And actually, nice engagement from Veles there. And ACCM is deciding to fight. The pikemen do have a bit of a hill advantage. He gets that mangonel, though. Now, with his own mangonel, he should be able to take that fight. Gets a hit on the crossbows. The pikemen are going down. There goes the front line from Veles. Nice mangonel shot there. And not quite getting a shot there, but the fight is won. Veles is pushed back. ACCM has the eco lead, and things are looking good for him. Maybe this is the start of the reverse sweep. And has to be careful not to lose his mangonel if a mangonel pops right there. One at a cost, but he holds. Here's where redemption would be useful if he can get the monk to pressure that siege workshop. Yep, and there is the. He sees the flags now. He knows there's another mangonel inside. Has to be careful with his own mangonel now. Now drop a castle on that hill. Well, both players are at a point where they could try to one-shot a castle. So they have to be aware of that. I think ACCM probably needs to remove that siege workshop before he thinks about the castle. Either that or make the castle more over here. Comes Veles again. Basically, he wants the mangonel to shoot, then he will ungarrison his mangonel and try to get a snipe. Oh, there we go. The mangonel is out. It's going for the monk. Knights need to kill the mangonel. And now ACCM, not quite at the stone for a castle, but he's almost there. If he can get a castle on this hill. There we go. 625. Needs just a bit more. He is mining it. Needs to hold long enough to get it. He has 2 mangonels. There's the house. And mangonel going to pop out again. ACCM needs to get the castle foundation up quickly, but the pikemen are there. And they're keeping it away. There's the foundation. The ACCM will be securing the hill. Enough HP on it now so mangonel can't snipe it off. And another nice mangonel shot coming in. Mangonel not being able to clean the one that's on the hill. And I think ACCM is going to take this. More TCs from the Vikings, but that's never really what they want to do. They want to be going for that faster imp. Going to be adding in his pikemen. They will have extra HP, but that's about all they have. Hit a house just to delete it. And now ACCM has secured this hill, does have the castle on it. And the question is, will he go imp, or will he just continue in the castle age? Queen's still in the back, or not the queen, Princess Yoda is still in the back for Veles. Veles will be imp earlier, and it has a castle too. He will be imp earlier, but ACCM will be up behind it. And, well, where is the castle? Nowhere that will be on a hill. ACCM has secured the hill in the middle, and this TC will be pressured. Mangonel there to do the pressuring, and ACCM just about to click up to imp himself. Just a bit more gold. And he probably has it. There we go. ACCM up to the Imperial Age. Will be about 50 seconds behind Veles. And Veles doesn't even have a castle of his own yet. He's going to be building it on the left on a tiny bit of a hill. That will help protect against Trebs. So important to get them on hills. But once the Teuton player gets going, they can add in their bombard cannons. And that's a unit the Vikings really don't have an answer for. Thank you, Pablo CRL for the follow. Ruben Stock still playing since yesterday. Ruben Stock, he's been living his life, man. During that game, he's ran some errands, rode his bike to pick up his car, ate some food, took some naps. I think he went on a date. Like, he's making great use of his time. alternative, this seems like a good game for Onager. Yeah, Onager, once Onager, Bombard Cannon, you get those in, maybe with a few Teutonic Knights, and Vikings can't really deal with that. Look at all these buildings at the front of Vless's base going down, too. I'm trying to make some towers in the back to defend. And Mangonel could get a good hit on the pikemen, that'd be nice, too. Still getting vills. And the knights are now in. They're into the economy. These are Teuton knights. They're being healed by the monks. And there's guard tower. There's chieftains. And Vless is up, but the castle there going forward right on Vless's gold. The only worry for ACCM is that there's a lot of pikemen out right now. I know he has Teuton knights, but chieftains is going to come in. This could be not so good a fight once chieftains comes in, and it's pikemen with chieftains versus knights. The Mangonel comes out to try to hit the castle. ACCM is up to imp, but he needs some Teutonic knights, not just Teuton knights, to deal with the pikemen, or needs some more siege of his own, loses his Mangonel. Needs to send the vills to get up that castle. It's at 68%. It's about 2/3 of the way there, but the crossbowmen now are out to deny it. And this could be a bit of a throw from ACCM. Still, his Teuton knights with a couple of Teutonic knights getting mixed in. Castle vills will go down. ACCM will need to send more. Still does have a bit of a vill lead, and did manage to clean up a lot of Vless's army, but at great cost. Those knights are a lot more expensive than those pikemen. Inaccurate arbs still can hit the Teutonic knights. And now, for Vless, the trebs are popping. That forward castle has given him a target that is not on a hill. And we all know once the trebs are popping, the castles are dropping. ACCM needs to get this up. And he does. Now he needs to repair it. He does have the stone to start repairing. And if he can get crenellations, that'll be nice. But really, he does need hoardings. Probably hoardings in the back castle would be good for him, along with a university for masonry and architecture. Just wants to keep that castle alive. He's going to start pushing in. Now he has the Cavaliers. Cavaliers will do much better at sniping the trebs. Needs to find a way to get a bit more either into this eco or to get an attack on the trebs. I know he wants to snipe that town center, but maybe sniping this siege workshop would have been the better option, just so he has a path to get to the trebs. Anyway, the town center is down, the castle is staying up. We see the final plate parting armor coming in for the cavalry, even though he has switched mostly to Teutonic knights that don't have any armor yet. Will die fairly easily to the castle. Some cavaliers trying to come in from the back. Lots of cavaliers added in for ACCM. Still doesn't have the score lead, but it feels like he is in control of this game. Chemistry for Vless, but he won't be able to do too much with that. The Teutonic knights now able to force the trebs back. Yeah, exactly. He was able to block there and keep the trebs alive a bit because of that. And now that it's gotten to the late game, the Teutons are very difficult for the Vikings to stop. Look at all these stables. Still think he should have just went for Onager instead of the risky castle. That would have been the safer play. I think just the Onager bombard cannon. Castle in your base to defend, but he wanted to go forward. Now he's going to have to deal with those 3 trebs somehow. Chemistry coming in for him as well as Blast Furnace. Ironclad Onager. It's a way to deal with pikes. But still, only 12 military, and this castle going to be taken out. I don't think he can continue repairing against 3 trebs. He's going to need to retreat. Archery ranges, maybe for some hand cannoneers once the chemistry comes in. And that forward castle going down, he probably thought he was a bit more ahead than he actually was. And with that earlier imp from Vless, always have to remember Vikings have a good economy. It's hard to beat them to imp. And I agree, that forward castle could have been a back castle, and instead of focus on siege, he lost a lot of knights fighting those pikemen. Now the eco for Vless, it is open to raiding, but just ACCM doesn't have anything with which to raid it. And he still does have those Trebs alive. I think he was desperate to cut him off from gold. Well, he has a ton of gold in the back. ACCM should be able to look at his resources and his scouting and know that Velez is not going to be lacking for gold. Here come more Trebs. If ACCM could get to Paladins, then Paladins could probably overwhelm the pikemen. He's still so far from that. He has these Teutonic Knights, but he doesn't have the siege he needs. He's going to lose his castle. And somehow he needs to get... He spent so much food on those knights that he lost earlier. He needs to get to the Onager upgrade. He needs to get his cannons out. He's going to be repairing that castle. It is on a hill, but it still doesn't have any HP upgrades. He has some hand cannoneers now. He wants to take this fight. Just, there's so many pikemen there. Can the Cavaliers tank the Arbalests enough for the hand cannoneers to do their job? The Teutonic Knights are moving in. The Cavaliers are going in. He would love to keep this castle alive. He's going to take the fight. With a better eco, he can even afford to take some losses here. He's buying the stone, trying to keep the castle alive. Needs to focus down a Treb, but the castle goes down. At the same time, the pikemen have gone down. The Cavaliers now getting a decent surround on the Arbalests. A few more pikes coming in, but so are the hand cannoneers. And he needs to focus the Arbalests lest they kill the hand cannons. But now the bombard cannon is out. He needs to get a good attack round. It's a decent shot in there. The Arbalests go down. The Cavaliers are chasing the Trebs. And that, even though he lost the castle overall, that was a decent fight for ACCM. It's so hard for Vikings to deal with the Teutons here. Not having Halb is very sad. They go from some of the best pikemen in AOK to not having Halbs. And I think finally going to be pushing in. Pikemen trying to pike their way through some houses on the left, but ACCM is prepared. He's building up his stone walls. He's collecting relics. We'll finally have a relic coming in. Arbalests, the Cavaliers do have their full armor. Once you get your Imperial Age armor, that does help a lot against the Arbalests. Going from 4 to 6 against the unit with 10 attack is a huge difference. One cannon. He has gold now. Question is, will he use that gold? He's going for guilds. Okay, he's prepared for a long game. I think that like the siege really needs to be forward in fighting the Arbalests. It's a retreat. Nice cannon shot there. I'm just trying to get the attack rounds in. His guilds. ACCM has 52 vills on gold, but it feels like he has no gold. Stables aren't queued. Going to rebuild the castle, try to retake that hill. Velez, still, despite ACCM having the much better KD, Velez still has the better army and is trying to push in. I feel like some type of trash unit for ACCM would probably help. Be it skirmishers, even Teuton skirmishers. Or even just Halbs to be a bit of a meat shield against the pikemen, so you have something other than Cavaliers to fight them. Why isn't Velez making like 20 more vills? Well, he is struggling for food, right? He's using the food to make the pikemen, and he needs to keep his army numbers up. Nice cannon shot there. Finally a shot I'm paying attention to. There's 23 vills in queue. Oh, well, that explains it too. He is making the villagers. He is trying to get his numbers up. Only using 2 TCs. Now it is time for more cannons, I think. Cannons, if you could add in like 1 or 2 onagers behind them, then he'd be in a decent spot. 32 vills queued now. He is stoned for more TCs, but he doesn't really need 32 additional vills now. He needs some type of push. I mean, if he had some siege rams just casually trying to stroll into the side of this base, that could maybe create some openings. Oh, he's gotten pikemen into the back of the base somehow. I don't know how he did that, but Yoda has just been watching the enemy farm. Anyway, they'll be cleaned up by the TC and the Teutonic Knights. Meanwhile, on the right-hand side, there's another fight going on. Cavaliers getting the jump on the Arbalests, cleaning them up. ACCM now with a commanding score lead, and I think it's only a matter of time before he pushes in here. I do agree, Onagers would be a very nice addition for ACCM. But as long as he has cannons, they can somewhat fulfill the same role without needing that expensive upgrade. Now ACCM finally has the army. Finally he's adding in elite skirmishers. He'll have a trash unit to help out in these fights now. If the cannons can get some good shots here, maybe on the pikemen. They missed there. Like he's going for Paladin. Looks like that indeed. We're not seeing Onagers because he wanted to go for Paladins. Oh, and there's supplies for champions. We'll see Viking champions as a switch instead of the pikemen. Veles, I guess he's going for champions because he has 3,000 gold amassed in his bank. And well, the champions will be fully upgraded with extra HP. Oh, we'll see the switch. We probably need to see more barrackses. If us would just cancel his villagers, he would have the food to pump out champions non-stop. Up to 130 vills now. Well, you need more gold for champs than you do for pikemen, at least. Veles has completely taken control of this left-hand side of the map, but has not actually scouted the corner, where there are 2 more piles of a decent amount of gold and a stone. And there's another castle of stone just sitting in that corner. ACCM is going to come out to the right, where he likely will finally scout that relic. Another relic by his base he has scouted that he could take. Now we're going to have an engagement. The Rams are coming in. Rams and Paladins. Paladin is in. That's 7 pierce armor against the 10 attack and more HP. Finally something that can take that can take a good fight, but he needs the numbers. Zerks are better for style and raiding. That's true, but he has but a single castle. Remember, there wasn't much stone in the player bases, so Berserks aren't really a viable option here at the moment. And ACCM cleaning up the front of Veles's base. This one is starting to feel kind of more over than it has been for a while. The bear is getting involved, attacking ACCM's vills over here, but he has found more stone. He's going to have more castles. His paladins are killing the Arbs. I know Veles still has an eco, and he still has a huge bank of resources, but things are looking pretty over for him. ACCM's push is moving in. Veles now struggling to maintain his population, needs more production buildings. Skirmishers doing their job against the Arbalests. Will have to run from the two-handed swordsman, but at least can still do some damage against them. Does Veles see the north gold near his base? I'm sure he... Oh, he actually doesn't. Oh, wow. It is a tiny tile of gold he has not seen. I mean, it's not like he needs it. He has 2,000, but he's just ran out of gold. He has no gold miners anymore. ACCM, I do still feel that the Paladin was a mistake and you need to go for the Onagers instead. I know Paladin is good against Vikings, but like everything Teuton makes against Vikings is good. And I feel like he kind of wants a unit that can sit in the back and not die, instead of the Paladins, which he has to keep spending the resources on. Still going down in gold. I guess that's Veles's hope. His hope is that he's just going to be able to outlast ACCM. And, well, if he does scout that gold, maybe he will. But there's a Paladin in the back, raiding the eco. He's completely open to having his eco raided by Paladins. ACCM just needs to, like, use the mobility a bit more. He's using the Paladins to take straight-up fights. They've gone with the Elite Teutonic Knight. You can't just go straight Elite Teutonic Knight against the Arbalists. You need the Siege added in with them. He has been adding in a few Teutonic Knights here and there. And I can understand the Paladins, but I think he still does need, like, he needs Siege. Paladins are moving in. This could be yet another good fight for ACCM. He has a 600 to 300 KD. "28 arbs in queue, only 4 ranges." Them using the market. And there we go. We have it. We have Siege Engineers for the Trebs. Oh, those Trebs get Siege Engineers. I think he probably needs like 4 or 5 Trebs, not just 3. But 3, they'll have Siege Engineers with the castles on the hill. He's going to force ACCM to take this fight. I mean, ACCM somehow he's never really had the army. It's 34 to 86. And ACCM's running out of gold. Finally, there is the Onager upgrade for him. Amassing some Mangonels now. That's what we wanted to see. Well, Onager by itself is kind of risky when there are Trebs out on the field. You'll have to repair that castle. Just now doing masonry. Probably should have added that in a long time ago. And treadmill crane. Plus there's no armor on the arbs. Oh yeah, Velez not doing blacksmith upgrades. That'll hurt. Long time no siege. Velez found gold. Velez has found the gold. He has now saturated it. So Velez is not out of gold yet. And Velez has retaken the score lead. And I think ACCM's lack of siege is really going to come back to haunt him. He thought the Paladin switch would be able to end the game, but Velez just has too much army. He can't really turn to get the raids in. He needs to get some good Onager shots here on the pikemen. He gets a couple. These are 2 in Onagers, but I don't think he did the armor upgrade. And he just needs to get... Oh, that's a forward castle. He needs to get a good shot on the Arbalists, but he doesn't. That's a very forward castle. Now we have a castle race, but it's a castle race when there are already Trebs in the back. ACCM, he's starting to win this fight, though. He needs to get out a couple more Onagers, really to push back the Arbalists. He'd like to deny this castle. Already the Trebs are going to start doing their work. This castle can go up, and it can start shooting those Vils and try to deny it. I don't think that's going to go up for less. What about Vikings like Cav? They are awful. And it lets the Teuton player add in halves. You really want your population spent on your Arbalists. But now the siege is coming out so late for ACCM, he's not really able to amass it. He needs to get like 1 or 2 good Onager shots. But Velez still has that huge bank of resources. Very likely worse than Teuton scouts. And the castle goes down, and what has not gone down is the castle foundation. More villagers are coming forward, and Velez just might be able to secure that hill after all this time. ACCM, has he actually... He left that castle alive. He does have another castle back here, but I feel like instead of pushing into that base, if he had just done some bombard cannons and tried to remove that castle, you have to remember, you're against the Vikings. In the late game, the Vikings don't really have a way to add in siege if they lose their castles. And those trebuchets now from Velez might just be able to help him win this game. This has been a crazy game. I thought ACCM had this earlier. But Velez managing to hold on. Lines on the right are being raided. That they are. They're almost out of gold. They also are being raided. Velez now starting to retake the map, get some map control. Putting on a clinic of how to play Vikings against Teutons in the late game. Thank you, Parpo, for the follow. Teuton scouts can beat scouts themselves without bloodlines or blast furnace. Or can beat the light cav at least. And now, ACCM, his population is dropping. He doesn't have the army he needs. He's out of gold. He's out of wood. And it looks like Velez might actually manage to take this game and come back. We're about an hour in, and Velez still has 1,700 gold. Poor ACCM indeed. He's trying to add in those onagers, but it was just so late. He was even late adding in that masonry and architecture at the university. Trying to do those paladins, but paladin was probably a mistake versus all of those. I know they're just pikemen, but they're extra HP and they have chieftains. They're not halbs, but they're still not just generic pikemen. Velez learned from Rubenstock not to take too long. And now ACCM, he wants to hold on, but he's lost his farms. And I don't see how he can continue to push in. He's in the back with some paladins trying to get some raiding in. Even champs are decent versus paladins with chieftains. Yep, that they are. Paladin is not the hard answer to Vikings like it used to be in AOC. Is that a gold pile on the west? It is, and it looks like Velez is moving out there with some outposts, so he will scout that even too. ACCM still has an economy on the right, is at 140 population, but he needs to get his population up somehow. He's not dead yet, and he does have the onager, and he is still Teutons. Get an onager shot there, he gets one nice one. Another okay one, needs to kill the champs. Extra HP on the champs really helping them tank onager shots. These are champions with extra HP and bonus attack against cavalry. Getting a couple onager shots, but he needed them ages ago. Clean the arbs. Most people never prioritize taking down monasteries. People do prioritize it. It just depends on the situation. ACCM starting to stabilize a bit. He needs to pump army though. Onagers are going to do a great job at stalling out the push, but he's out of gold now. He's out of gold, and Velez has just discovered another 1,600 gold, 1,700 gold in the corner. Got 15 bills being queued from, got 2 TCs left, adding in a third. His eco down here is going to be raided. He's adding in stables, but what's he going to make from those stables? Nothing but scouts. Nothing but Teuton scouts. You should have seen the Ruben Andre game. Isn't that still going on? Now, if ACCM has a way to stay alive, it's going to be through getting good onager shots. And he needs to kill the rams, and he needs to get a good shot on those champions. Needs to get some attack rounds, though. Can't just right-click that ram. Needs to be very precise. And he needs to make sure his onager doesn't take it out, and he keeps it alive. Snipe off that ram now. Gotta be attack rounds, though. Rams are... Siege rams will dodge your onager shots if they just move in straight lines. Scouts for dealing with that ram. And now, time for some onager shots. Plus, he is paying attention. Gets a nice shot on the champs. Can he get another one? One onager. Crop rotation. Valles is prepared for this game to go on for several hours longer. It's another nice shot on those champions. ACCM still at about 150 pop as Vales's pop starts to drop as well. ACCM, if he can hold out for a bit longer. No. He just have that monastery there. Vales probably should try to knock that down, steal the relics for himself. Onagers can just get some more hits. 19 onagers in queue. Oh, that's onagers for Valles. He is using his gold. That is where the Teutons then need their bombard cannon. Only one in queue for ACCM. And that's onager shots on the skirms. This is where if you're the Teutons, normally you don't care about Viking onagers because you have bombard cannons. But Valles has a 5k score lead now. Going to be going straight for that onager. There's no way ACCM can add in anymore. Valles could just go for a wonder now. You cancel some of those onagers and add in a wonder in the back. And there is the GG. As Valles takes it in a 4-0 sweep, he will proceed to the grand finals against Teuton. And those have not been scheduled yet. I'll keep an eye on AoE Zone. There will be a scheduling thread there. And very, very well played by Valles. I feel like there were a few mistakes ACCM made in there. Trying to go the Paladin route instead of the Siege route. Leaving that castle alive and being way too over-aggressive with his forward castle. 0-8 for ACC in the last two series. Yeah, I feel like overall he was on the worst side of the randomness in terms of the civs, but this was a game I feel like he should have secured. But anyway, GG's. Let's give some love for ACCM. As Valles will be advancing. Let's look at those stats. It's one of those weird games where you have the better KD, even though it always felt like Valles still had the army advantage. It's just one of those weird ones, right? It's like you have the better KD, you have the better economy, but just were never able to kind of close it out the way you needed to. And that comes down to like some just cost efficiency of you had to put all that gold into those paladins, and then they died to the pikemen. Yeah, he lost so many paladins, right? And that's a gold you're spending on all of those upgrades and then on the paladins themselves. And despite having 5k more gold collected, he just ran out of gold. And despite having the better KD, I feel like in this situation, what you need to do is get your longer range of the cannons and the onagers. Rely on getting onager shots to stop pike, and also your Teutons, right? You get the extra melee armor. You shouldn't have to worry about pikemen poking down your siege, then just rely on the long-range shots to kill onagers and slowly push into the base. ACCM kind of went for that castle to go all at once. And like he applied so much pressure to that base. He opened all of the base for raiding, but Valles just had such a large army, ACCM never could afford to turn his paladin away to do the raiding. He had to keep taking the fight. I should have watched his video why Paladin is not worth in 1v1. Didn't Hera also say, like, scouts are not worth it in 1v1 anymore either? Anyway, that is a 4-0 victory for Valles. Congratulations to him. He goes on to play the winners final. Let's take a quick look at the brackets. Real quick, I'll pull them up over. These are on Wikipedia if you do want to look at them yourself. So the grand finals is going to be between Tato and Vles. That is going to be a best of. If I can get my thing to go full screen. A best of 9. So that will be exciting. Tato and Vles, whenever that gets scheduled, we'll take a look. And I will be looking forward to that. Best of 21? No, not best of 21. Best of 9. I'd love to see a best of 21. That would probably be long enough to even out the randomness a bit in this map.